So an eating disorder stems from a mental health condition, using the control of food to cope with overwhelming feelings or situations. Without help, it can cause severe physical and emotional trauma that impairs your overall well-being. Find out how you can become a better version of yourself with Search, Strength and Results. There are a few factors. That's the psychological part, the social, environmental part, and also the biological part. So I will go with the biggest one, which is psychological. So psychological means someone who has maybe anxiety or childhood trauma, or that would cause them to have some body image issues and feeling very dissatisfied about their body, about how they feel and how they look. That can cause them to develop an eating disorder. Also, when it comes to environmental, as you know, our social circles are very important. So that really affects how we think and how we feel and how we behave in society. And that's why people who have a lot of peer pressure, maybe some history of bullying in school, may develop an eating disorder. And lastly, a very minor part of the equation would be biological, which stems from maybe a family history of eating disorders. Maybe some changes in your brain or hormone levels can also cause an eating disorder. So that would be the three main reasons. How does having eating disorder affect someone? Physically, it's very obvious. You notice that someone's very skinny, sunken cheeks, very gaunt looking. They look like death, basically. And that's very normal. I think biologically as well, definitely the person may have lost their period if she's a woman. And you would notice all these signs very, very quickly. Secondly, would be mentally. Mentally, lack of focus, brain fog, unable to think clearly, things like that. When someone's not able to function optimally in their daily life, that's where you know that that is a huge cause, effect of an eating disorder. Lastly, will be emotionally. Well, mood swings without any reason whatsoever, being a bit depressed, maybe a little bit moody in situations that they cannot explain. So a lot of people don't know this in my life, but I used to have an eating disorder, and I've come very far since then. It's been about that was about 10 years ago. I had developed this condition. It was during the time when um, I was a swimmer and I was a triathlete. I was in the national team and I was competing a lot. And I think that caused a bit of body dysmorphia, unfortunately, because I was going through a lot of pressure from my family, my mom, and my coach was pushing me very hard to perform and compete. So that made me feel like I had to control something in my life because nothing in my life was in my control at the time. Not my meals, not my training. Everything was controlled by other people, and that's why I believe that's the reason why I developed an eating disorder. And during that time, I really feel very alone in that situation, and I was very secretive about that. Not even my mom knew that I was going through this. My eating disorder was termed as autorexia later on when I was going through therapy. Autorexia is a condition where it's actually not easily noticed because you still eat food, but I was being very, very judgmental over what I was eating and what I put into my mouth. I was not eating from certain food groups, and I was only eating maybe 5 or 6 different foods a day, and I would only stick to those 5 or 6. So I was really very malnourished. I didn't have enough nutrients, and it was also very surprising that I was still able to perform and compete. But I knew that I wasn't at my best, and I obviously lost a lot of weight. And at the lowest point in my life in this condition, I was only about 7 to 8% body fat, which for a woman it's ridiculously low. And obviously from there, I had amenorrhea, which is the loss of my period, and my hormones were all whacked up. So I would say that it was a difficult journey when finally my family knew about it, because it was a very long journey of rehab and therapy and going back to where I am now, a lot healthier and a lot more aware of my mental health and my emotional health, and all these things have become a very integral part of where I am today as a coach. Okay, so having gone through this condition myself, good thing is that I can better empathize with a client who may be going through an eating disorder. I think eating disorders is a very sensitive topic. A lot of people are very unwilling to reveal that they have an eating disorder because they feel a lot of shame behind that condition. So first and foremost, when anyone who steps into the gym at Surge, especially, we will always sit them down and ask them, especially someone with a weight loss goal, and we need to ask them what is the main reason, what's the core reason they want to lose weight, what is the purpose, what drives them, because with that knowledge, we are able to better support them, and helping them also, next is also helping them to set achievable and reasonable goals, because a lot of times clients come in, all they want to do is just to lose weight, look better, look thinner, in the mirror, but what we see is numbers matter as well. Like, are the numbers that they want to achieve, does that make sense? And is that something that we can help them, like set better goals and things like that. So, and lastly, obviously, once we have set that reasonable goal, once we have understood why they want to lose weight, we can then constantly check in with them, making sure that they're always physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. I think that's the most important thing. Healthy is what I really emphasize when it comes to my clients, because even if you lose a lot of weight, but if you're not healthy, then there really is no benefit, I would say, in the long run, because we want our clients to have long-term success when it comes to weight loss, and also being able to keep the weight off and be able to also be happy with how they look and how they feel. And that's our main goal here as personal trainers. So for someone who wants to get back on track, I think first and foremost, the most important thing is even being aware that you have this problem, right? I myself, I wasn't really that aware that I had an issue. I thought it was something like it's very normal, and I thought I was eating healthy, but obviously I wasn't. I think coming to awareness is something that only you can do for yourself, because people around you may notice the differences, especially in the physical side, very quickly. But a lot of times, we as people who have an eating disorder, we cannot actually tell that we have a problem. So that's the first step. The next step, obviously, once you are aware that you have this problem, is to be willing to seek help and support, whether it's from your loved ones, your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, right? So find support, because that we all need people around us to help us. And it's very hard to get out of an eating disorder and in that mental health state when you don't have that circle to rally around you. And lastly, once you are aware and once you're willing, then it's obviously to do it, take action, is to find the support. And a lot of times, maybe our family may not be able to help us fully, so we may need a therapist, which I did. We may need a personal trainer to get us back on track with the eating, the nutrition, and the training, to help us build a better mindset around our health and our well-being, and what constitutes healthy training, healthy eating, and obviously making a plan for yourself as well into achieving the things that you want in order to get back into a healthier lifestyle. And the thing is, there is no timeline for this, right? I mean, I took years to get back to on track, right? And even then, my hormone levels were not normal until like after 8 to 10 years, to be honest. And just to be very upfront, I lost my period and I didn't regain it for 10 years. So I've only just got back a healthy cycle like 4 years ago. And that was like 10 years of just not having good hormone levels. So that is the effects of when you have pushed your body to a brink of that point where your body's just broken. You just have to take your time and be patient. And that is what you should do is once that happens, is just to be aware of that and knowing that you're not alone and that there are always people around to help support. So you just need to ask for it and you just need to be very willing to take action. And that's how you get it on track. So how I got through the eating disorder was obviously I had the 3 points that I talked about earlier, right? I was aware and I was willing and I took action. So these are three things that I did. But I think what really saved me, when I say saved, is it's like it's an understatement actually, because I found weightlifting, and that really sparked the place that I am today. The reason is because once I started weightlifting, when you lift weights, you have to eat better. You have to eat more protein. You have to make sure your macros are on point because the stronger you get, the more you want to achieve. And the good thing about me as a person is that being someone who's very driven when it comes to anything I do in life, basically, once I find myself getting stronger, I want to lift more weights. And with that comes a newfound love for nutrition, being wanting to fill my body with good nutrients in order for me to perform in the gym. And that has always been my reason of why I do what I do and why I love lifting weights. And from someone who is very skinny, like 8% body fat, and not loving her body at all, and not loving her life, and not living life to the fullest, and not even being able to lift like 5 kg dumbbells, to someone now who is able to lift 110 kg in my squats. I'm able to bench 70 kgs. I'm able to deadlift over 100 kgs. That for me is a huge achievement. And that really helps me to zone in on the reason of why I love training at this point, and I love my body the way it is. It took me very long to love myself the way I am, but I would say the transformation is when there's finally this switch that turns on in my brain that's like, you know what, I love living like this. I love being able to be strong. I love being able to lift these weights that a lot of people can't lift. And that makes me feel empowered as a woman and makes me feel empowered as a coach. And this helps me to also be very aware of what I put in, because that means whatever I put out is of quality and is the most efficient. And yeah, so I would say that, of course, this transformation didn't take place within a year. It took like years for me to even realize this. And that really has bring in a better mindset, mentally, emotional health. And now that I'm in this place where I'm doing what I love as a coach here at Surge, that is something that also sparks that, because I want to be able to help more people who may encounter this condition, like how I did, and being able to help them to achieve what they want in a healthy, in a more reasonable and meaningful way. So yeah, I would say that my main transformation is just being able to love myself and love my body the way it is. I think that is a huge achievement, because you'll be surprised that lots of people in your 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s don't even love who they are. And that, I think, is the saddest part. And that is, I mean, we have a long life to live and life is too short, and we have to really be able to enjoy every single moment that we have. And, and being healthy is one of the biggest things that we have and the most valuable asset that we have as well. So yeah. So I think first and foremost, I feel like I was finally strong enough to be able to lift heavy, and that made me feel very in awe of how much I can really push myself and how resilient my body really is. And honestly speaking, I think I have pushed my body to many different places, and I think that really made me feel like I could do a lot more with what I have. And secondly, is having more confidence in the way I carry myself. And I think most crucial thing is always to not compare yourself to other people and just focus on yourself and your own journey. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone goes through their own challenges, and you're not the only one, and they're not the only one. So the most important thing is to learn and grow from things that you have gone through in life, and being able to come out of it stronger and being a better version of yourself as well. And lastly, is finally being able to be open enough to share about my journey with eating disorders. I think as a coach, sometimes we want to perceive ourselves as being strong people who have no issues, right? We train hard, we eat well, and we sleep well, and yeah, magically we are great people who embody health and wellness, but we all have our own struggles. We are human as well. And this, I feel like having shared this with clients, with my friends, really humanizes me as a person, as just Annabelle, right? I am not a superhuman. I don't have magic tricks up my sleeves. So this is really who I am. And with that comes a part of understanding and being more compassionate with myself as well. So, yeah. Some of the myths that you might hear about eating disorders is firstly that it's not a serious condition and that it's all about vanity, right? But the thing is, it's not just a phase. A lot of people think like it's just a phase, oh, she's fine, she'll be all right. But the thing is, a phase doesn't last for 10 years, which I did, right? Um, it is a serious condition because mental health, as you know, is serious and can cause debilitating effects, right? So if it's not being treated or addressed early on, especially when someone's on the younger side, like when you're a teenage person, I think that can cause serious long-term risks in the future. So I do believe that an eating disorder is not just about someone wanting to look good. Of course, it's one of the factors, but it's not the only factor. And you have to understand that when it comes to a mental health condition, means that there's very serious underlying factors that have caused someone to feel that they're not good enough, or they're not pretty enough, or they're not thin enough. So that's something that we need to really address as quickly as possible. And secondly, the second myth that usually you would hear is that dieting is a normal part of life. Dieting, yes, like we diet to lose weight. This is part of our protocol here at Surge, but we also do not champion dieting for long periods of time or like forever, right? Dieting is not supposed to be a forever thing. Dieting is not a normal part of life, right? Having good nutrition and eating healthy, yes, right? That is something that you should do permanently and for life. But when it comes to dieting, it's something that should be short term and should be done with control, done with proper timelines, with proper methods, like what we do here at Surge. Like we make sure that our clients go through a dieting phase in their journey, but it's not something that they have to do forever, because once someone reaches their goal, then that's when they stop and go back into maintenance, right? So that is not a normal part of life, right? And lastly, eating disorders mostly targets females. This is something that I hear a lot. Yes, it's true that most females go through eating disorders just because we are more emotional beings and we do feel a lot more when it comes to societal pressures and things like that, where we are more affected when it comes to social media and all that, especially with today's society. But it affects everyone, every gender, every sex, everyone goes through this, right? Some more serious than other people, but it's something that anyone can go through and anyone can develop over time. So it's very important for someone to be educated in this sense and to be able to address issues when it comes to their loved ones, their friends and family. Is very important for you to understand and for you to be aware of how they are and be very compassionate with someone when they're going through an eating disorder.